Salam everyone. Welcome to this YouTube channel, a series program focusing on the African history from way back as we can remember to date. This is to enrich the African pot of stories with information from the knowledge that exists today and the experiences that has been told to generations, and especially in this case those from my village in Nairobi, Kenya. In this age of information and global village, karibuni sana. Well, to start us off is my little journey that started in 2003 after I received a self-awareness of what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I joined my church in a very serious way and as a stakeholder. And as a youth chair, I was appointed by the former chairman, Mr. Stephen Waweru Kinyanjui, because he was leaving for the United States of America. It was a privilege that really pushed me to look at the space and the need, the gaps, and I found out that it was information. So I rallied my crew around us developing a periodical newsletter. We came up with a name, the African Orthodox Herald. And in 2003, because most of us were jobless, my family came through and I was able to push this project, and we published the first issue. Unfortunately, it was not admitted in the church, and it gave me an opportunity to join the Macarius III Patriarchal Ecclesiastical Seminary in Nairobi. My journey of doing the research on the religious, economic, and historical experiences of my people began there. There was a wealth of library with vast books from different topics, and it was a whole new world for me, and I was glad to be there. I started doing the research according to the new inspiration that I received from classroom, my quest that I've held in my heart since way back when I was young. And by, I had some manuscripts, but I shelved them because I didn't know how to write. I didn't know how to start, to write an article, to write a research paper, until when I joined St. Paul's University in Limuru as an undergrad. And this is where I learned how to write. And all this past information, I started putting them down on paper. And I realized the same gap still exists in the Kenyan society and also in my church. And I decided to go digital. I rallied some of my students from the Department of Information Technology, and we developed an Android mobile application where we had liturgical books and very many other materials. Some of the materials that I personally developed were under a project that I had initiated in 2003 called Freedom 254 Project Initiative, where I was collecting information in preparation for publishing and disseminating messages, and especially trying to find inspiration that may have been lost through the waves and tides of history. In my book, in my collection, I had several manuscripts that still exist that I had uploaded in the ebook, and in 2013, I did an African cosmology and the salvific traces before Christianity. In 2014, I did another one called Traditions, which was focusing on the Christian mission to the global south and the domineering philosophy and ideology. In 2015, I did an article on African spirituality, which was focusing on the Masoretic text, the Christian Greek text, and the Islamic texts for a genuine faith tradition. That year, I developed a lectionary for my church for the year 2015 and 2016. In 2016, I did an article on the Eastern European Christian tradition from Pentecost and the councils and the place of the neophyte Orthodox Christians in the great and holy Orthodox Council of Crete. I then did in 2017 a political year. I did a lectionary 2016-2017, which I supplied to all the corners of my country. And I also did a children ministry book, a basic Bible book, a comic one, which I was trying to raise money to support my projects. I also vied for a political seat just to try and implement the political ideas that I had developed over time in my experience in the higher education learning. That year, I also published I wrote the history of East African Orthodoxy and her metaphysical ideology after the scramble for Africa between 1895 in Berlin and 1910 in Edinburgh. This was a very trying time for my life, and this is when I started looking back at my life and my family, and I started uploading on my YouTube channel the experiences and the funny moments that I had on my phone and social media, until just to prepare myself to the run-up to this year, when I had planned to do a series, and here we are. So in 2018, I wrote another article after my political experience and vying unsuccessfully. I did an article called Corruption in Your Mother Tongue. It was an article that looked at the Third Republic of Kenya and the third wave philosophical ideas as a message to the humanists and the capitalists. That year, I joined Tangaza University for my MBA on social entrepreneurship and MA in social transformation. In 2019, the Freedom 254 Project Initiative changed to Isaac Mwirori Nyambura. I moved from collecting stories and I moved to now publishing stories. And this is part of that publishing. I decided that I'll take the platforms that I have so that I can put my work out there and give back to those who are also in the same situation that I was before I stepped up. I did in 2019 launch a prayer book, together with the chairman of the Kenya Society for the Blind and the International Ecumenical Movement Kenyan chapter, and my church, the African Orthodox Church of Kenya. I also did an article on environmental care, which was called the Environmental Care as a Source of Materialism Principle of Justice. In 2020, I did an article on overcoming the hegemonic classes with the social entrepreneurship skill for an egalitarian national economy. And last year, in 2021, I joined the Kenya Methodist University in Meru for my MA in Mission Studies. And through that inspiration and the clamor for the constitutional movement in Kenya, and my party became the first party to publish a bill called Punguza Mzigo, which was shot down by the big political parties and big politicians whose names have featured in this country since before independence. Now the children of the pioneers of the politics in this country wanted to mutilate the gains of the 2010 constitution, which my party leader was part and parcel of writing it as in the panel of experts as a lawyer. So I wrote an article on bad governance and politics, where I was focusing on the Building Bridges Initiative, or Ligacy, and the succession plan politics that were hidden in that project. It is a project that was initiated by the government, especially the president, the head of state, and the head of government, and state resources were used, which was so unfair. It was a political moment that the people of the past regimes and the beneficiaries found very difficult to govern, because it called for a human right perspective and approach to issues of governance. So before I joined Third Way Alliance in 2017, in 2012, I was a member of Orange Democratic Movement. It was the new phenomenon and the new hope for my country. And it was pursuing a social democratic political persuasion. And in 2013, I joined them in 2012. In 2013, after the general election, I saw my party calling for an anarchy that we had experienced in 2007, post-election violence, and other members of Kenya from the Rift Valley had experienced since 1992. And I realized that this was a fuata nyayo philosophy that is done by my party and the other parties that we were clamoring or vying against. Later that year, this year, I also decided that I will vie again on Third Way Alliance ticket, and so the same word, and I'm going to do my politics differently from the experiences that I received and advices I've received and experiences I've gained since the last election. This year I want to introduce a work that I've been doing since last year. It is called Karing'a. Karing'a is an African philosophical focus and ideology on how to be a better human being and a better person within your identity. And this is what I'll share. And this is the first project done by the Isaac Muiruri Nyambura lifelong learning, family learning project that I'll be airing online. So welcome so much. And this work called Karing'a will be focusing on a conscientism of post-election Al-Kebulan and the experiences into the digital information age of egalitarian global village. So thank you so much. Mbarikiwe and have a good life. Thank you so much.